My name's Kevin Illingworth, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about what Expro have done in subsea well access and how we've looked at efficiencies of building into some new systems we have. And I think what we are in Expro are in a lucky position is that we've managed to gain some of the knowledge and some of the lessons learned from our own subsea well access experience, as well as some of the other great companies in the room that will talk tomorrow about lessons learned and projects. And we've managed to use those lessons learned to look at how we can get as efficient as possible to go into these subsea wells. So just a little bit of the agenda. I'll give you an overview of what subsea well access means to Expro, and then I'll break that down and go into the LWI, or the Light Well Intervention section for Expro, which is 2 new systems to the market for us. I'll introduce an alliance we have with our vessel supplier, which is COEC Offshore, and I'll give you an overview of the vessel. And then I'll go into a bit of the well intervention and the efficiencies we're looking at of how we do the integrated package. So Expro Subsea Well Access itself is, Expro from a subsea point of view, are very well known, I think, in the market as a subsea test tree assembly provider. We have over 60% of market share in that, and we've been doing that for coming up for about 20 years of providing those services. But what we felt was that we were doing quite a lot of work in the E&A and the completion phase of the well on a subsea well. But the potential was for us to be excluded from some of the intervention stuff and some of the late life or the field of life well access. So we looked at that and we developed our subsea well access portfolio by the introduction of another 2 systems. So if you can see, here is our subsea test tree assembly system, and then this is our intervention riser system, and then our riserless well intervention system, which I'll talk a little bit more detail about these 2 new additions to the portfolio. So breaking that down a little bit more, I guess, the subsea test tree assembly or landing string is a very established way of getting into a subsea well. Like I say, predominantly E&A and completion phase for us, but how that is run is deployed through a client-owned or rented rig, and it has full intervention capability. However, you need to run the BOP and a full marine riser with that system. So what we looked at is the introduction of Expro's light well intervention portfolio, which is the IRS system here, which is still deployed either from a rig or a vessel with a derrick. You have the ability for intervention, through tubing intervention with coil tubing, wireline, all the sort of the normal ways of intervening into a completed well. So what you do is you don't necessarily need to run a BOP and a marine riser with that. So it's increasing the efficiency and the cost of getting onto the well, and you still have the capability of doing pretty much all intervention on that well. And then when you look at the riserless system, this is a wire through water system, so no capability of running coil tubing. However, with some of the technologies I'll introduce to you a little bit later on, we're trying to address that. However, this is the most effective and efficient, cost-effective and efficient way to get onto a subsea well for a well intervention. Nearly 80% of any well intervention can be done with this method. So what we've developed is we've developed a system that can run up to 30 meters tool string length for wireline. So we're looking at tractor deployed production logs you can do off of this system. And like I say, lowest cost and rapid deployment and operation. This is the most cost-effective way to get into a subsea well for well intervention. So breaking those systems down, just giving an overview of each of the systems. So the IRS, or the intervention riser system, we've partnered up with a manufacturer that's renting us the IRS system itself, and Expro will provide our clients with the controls, the service, the engineering, the project management to go and run that system. And we've actually just won our first contract with that, which is in this region, in Mauritania, for a P&A campaign. And that will be operational August, September this year. And that's a 360 well campaign, 360 day campaign for 14 well P&A campaign. And the system has just went through all its final checks and SIT in Houston. And this is the latest system that's on the market for this. So again, we've got the latest system that looks at all the efficiencies that we can build into that. And just an overview of the system itself, the animation will just run on the right. But it's a compact, lightweight modular system, 7 3/8 full bore with 10K working pressure. Ability to run down to 3,000 meter water depths. So it's an LRP, EDP, lower riser package and EDP. And it's got dual cutting capability on these valves in the LRP. You can run this onto, like I said, no marine riser or BOP, but you can run straight onto the Christmas trees, whether it be horizontal or vertical. And then we'll run all the interfaces with the ROV intervention panels and all the subsea interfaces. And this is high angle release for any issues. And of course, as the name suggests, it's a riser system, so you have riser back to surface with this for any intervention. When we move on to the riserless system, so basically, the riserless well intervention system, I think it's a very knowledgeable crowd in this room, and it's a bit of work that's done quite often here. But it's a wire through water method of getting onto the well. So you deploy your subsea lubricator system onto the well, and you have a wireline unit on the vessel, and you run wire through water into the system here. So, like I say, the majority of intervention can be done with this method. You cannot run coil tubing, but I'll introduce some of the technologies later that we can run that makes up for that. But it's all wireline intervention can be done this method. Expro have formed an alliance, and we have a partnership with our partner called COEC Offshore. Thank you. And COEC are a vessel supplier based out of China. And COEC will supply all the marine and the shipping side, and Expro will supply the intervention package and all the intervention services. So we feel that with COEC's expertise from a shipping standpoint and Expro's expertise from both a subsea well access and intervention standpoint, it's a very good. We have very good capabilities to capitalise on this. So some of the key benefits we see from a riserless intervention standpoint is the safety. So there's minimal interaction with the seabed. So if there's any, if you take a rig in, a moored rig, you have to potentially shut in wells and bleed off production lines to get onto the well for any of the heavy lifts. So we don't have that. You're immediately in the field and on the well. Some of the studies, I guess, has been done that we have done in our build-up to this was looking at a typical intervention of deployed with a rig. By the time we get into field and then first run in the well, you're looking at sort of circa 5-6 day period. With a riserless system, with a vessel, everything's integrated onto the vessel. You turn up, and within 12 to 24 hours, you're in the well. So there's a lot of efficiency with mobilising a system like this. Cost, I've discussed, it's the most cost-effective way of doing an intervention into a subsea well. When we were looking at this, our estimations were you can do this sort of 50% of the cost that you do intervention with a rig. I think Equinor, who do a vast amount of intervention in this method, put it a bit higher actually. They say that their intervention costs are about 70% of what they do with a rig. 70% less. The speed, the capability of getting in and out of the well, so if you have any issues with with a well going down, a high producing well going down, any problems with safety valves or integrity or things like that, you can get onto the well quickly. And one of the things that we were keen to look at was the flexibility of the complete package. So not just the intervention system itself, but to keep the utilization up, what can we do with the vessel while we're in field? So we've looked at, some of the stuff for subsea construction, for P&A, try to maximize the utilization of the vessel. And I think that's one of the key areas that maybe tomorrow, when the guys are looking at some of the case studies that will come up, is that when you mobilize a system like this, the utilization is a key aspect of that. And it would be very beneficial for the service companies in the room if we can be as bold as to suggest that you can potentially put programs of work together in certain countries. It makes it much more efficient and cost effective to perform that way. So just a little bit of an overview of the vessel itself. It's a DP3 monohull vessel, 125 metre long and 25 metre width. We've got a lot of back deck area on this vessel, so we've looked at the potential to have subsea Christmas trees on the back of the vessel, 5 or 6 Christmas trees, and then look at batch deployment in the field. That's one of the benefits of a larger back deck vessel. Large accommodation, 250-ton active heave compensation crane, and it's a 7.2 square metre working moon pool with twin built-in ROVs. And you'll see on the system, on the vessel itself, the tower here. So this is the deployment tower, and we've tried to build some real efficiencies into the tower itself, which I'll cover a little bit later on in the presentation. So looking at the riserless system and an overview of that system, basically what we've done is we've split our system into 3 main components, and I'll cover each of those components. But it's a subsea service module, the well access system itself, which has just been deployed there now, and then the topsides equipment. Now the system is good for 3,000 metre water depth, and it's a 7/3/8 full bore system with 10K working pressure. And what we've done is we've looked at, I think, maybe some of the slight differences with our system, that systems are on the market. We've looked at using our proven ball valve technology from our subsea test trees and our landing string, and repackaging that with some of the other components that's on the market just now. So while this is a new system, it's proven technology all the way throughout the system. So the well access system itself is a lightweight riserless well intervention system. Like I said, it's 10K working pressure with 7/3/8 full bore. It utilizes our ball valve technology, which you'll see here in the well access system itself. These are the barriers. This is below the latch here, and then you've got the lubricator, and then the open water latch system up here. So the tool string's just been deployed through the lubricator, and then you'll see the ball valves open, and then we're down into the well. So the system consists of the well access system itself, here, the subsea lubricator with the open water latch system, and we also have a shear seal gate valve on here that will cut and seal on tool string, so up to 2-inch tool string. The ball valve technology is our X-Pro technology, which will cut and seal on all wireline, and we've now qualified this to cut and seal on coil hose as well, which is one of the technologies I'm going to introduce to you in a minute. And within the open water latch system that you've just seen being unlatched here, we've got our open water latch for E-line, slick line, slick E-line, coil hose, and we have a fluid pumping mandrel as well, and I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. And we've designed our system to the latest API 17G regulations. So the subsea service module itself we've stripped this off of being surrounding our system, and we are deploying this on the seabed as an independent module. And we think this does a couple of things for us. It looks at the efficiency of deployment, it cuts down the weight for us, but it also looks at the efficiency of how we maintain both this module and the well access system itself, so we can get easier access to do in-field maintenance on this. So we envisage that we're not going to have to sail the boat in to do maintenance, we can do this on the vessel. This is deployed adjacent to the well, and this holds all our accumulator banks for grease and the operating system for our IWOX package. This is run with this is connected with an umbilical back to the vessel, and then the ROV will connect up flying leads from this system across to the control of the well access system and the subsea test tree. And we can recharge the accumulator banks from the vessel with our hose, the hose down to the top of this. Our surface controls, basically on the vessel, this is pretty much a standard surface control system with an HPU, the umbilical, chemical injection package. We're running an EH system, so electro-hydraulics system down onto this service module. And then we have the make and break ejectable connectors that will be on the service module and across on the flying leads. So I just wanted to introduce a little bit of well intervention, because we've looked at, I guess, efficiency as well, and I think one of the aspects that is missed a little bit when we talk about riserless systems is there's a lot of focus on the vessel, a lot of focus on the system to access the well, but 80% of the time spent on a well is spent in the well. So you have to look at the efficiencies that you're doing when you're in the well as well. And again, one of the benefits I think Expro bring is our knowledge and our experience of well intervention. Expro have been working in well intervention for over 40 years. We are kind of the global market leading provider of mechanical wireline services. So what we've also done over that period of time, over the last sort of 5 years of that period of time, is looked at how we can really provide the latest technology for well intervention to our clients. Without developing that technology ourselves, there's lots of companies that are around for well intervention downhole tools. We've heard from some of them this morning already with Interwell, and I'm sure we'll hear more over the next couple of days. So what Expro are doing is we're looking at how we partner up with those companies to provide the most efficient tools while we're in the well as well. And as a result of that, we've developed our new well intervention package that will be on board the vessel. And this is called the Hydra Well Intervention Package, so it's multi-head with a base unit. And the idea behind this is that we have as much flexibility as we can to, when we intervene in some of the subsea wells, to give us some contingency. So the very nature of these wells, they're not intervened in very often. In fact, they're probably designed to be intervention-less if you're designing a subsea completion. However, there is, as Equinor prove, they plan on doing 2.5 days well intervention on every well they have per year. So there is a benefit to intervene in these wells. However, what we found in the past is that because they don't have intervention in them very regularly, if you can potentially go into the hole, into the well, because you've got a problem, and if you don't get down with the first wireline run, you've pretty much mobilized this vast cost equipment and you're not doing anything else with it. You're going to have to go and take a rig in to do different intervention. So what we've developed is we've looked at some partnerships, and we've developed a partnership with a company called QI for a product called coil hose, which I'll explain a little bit in the next slide. So within the system, we'll have a basic wireline drum, whether that be slickline or E-line. We'll have a coil hose drum head, and then we'll have a slick E-line drum head, which I'll explain again in a little bit. So what we'll try to do is maximize the opportunities to do the well intervention when you get into the field. So coil hose is it's pretty much an alternative to coil tubing applications, but it has some limits. So it's run like slick line. It's a hose that you can see on this picture here. This is the coil hose itself spooled onto a wireline drum. So this is spooled on a standard wireline package, and it's run like slick line, so there's no injection needed into the well. It's run into the well on weight. So you have a tool string and you run into the well. And basically what this gives you the opportunity to do is do in-well at-source pumping. So ideal for any scale build-up, wax build-up. It's good for nitrogen lifting the wells in. So this, I think, is crucial to give you, if you go into the well and you find a problem with slickline, this gives you a contingency method to then go and do something about that, and then you can carry on with the program. So we're in partner with this company called QI, and exclusive partnership for this product, and we now have 3 packages of this in the UK, and we've just getting the go-ahead now to build another 6 packages of this, and this is the system that's in build at the minute to go onto the vessel. The other leg that we have with this is a technology called Slick E-line, which I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of people familiar with this, but we're in partnership with a company called Paradigm, and this is a technology that is a bi-directional telemetry coating on slickline that gives you the capability to perform all slickline operations, but somewhere in the region up to about 75% or 80% of standard cased hole E-line operations. So puts you on depth, gives you real-time depth correlation, and you can do all sorts of stuff. You can perforate, you can do production logging. The limits this has is probably around a high data rate transfer stuff. So, the saturation logging, things like that, you cannot do with this. You cannot control, you cannot send pulses down this to operate tractors or everything, but you can do 80% of the cased hole work with this system. And again, this will be another part of the package that will be on board the vessel.